Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here today to share the speaker portion of our Connections Over Coffee gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Our speaker today, Lilia Shoshanna Rae, a former lawyer, answered the call to become a spiritual healer, teacher, and author when angels appeared midlife to redirect her on her soul's purpose path. She's the author of the Amazon bestseller, The Art of Listening to Angels, and she uses the guidance from angels to help clients and students share their unique gifts with the world as they live their brilliance. You can find out more about Lilia at her website, liliashoshannaray.com, which I will put in the comments a little bit later. Lilia, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. And thank you to everyone here. It's so good to connect. I always love meeting here with On Purpose women who really get connected to that idea of living a life of purpose. And I wanted everybody to tap into this idea of what is getting them excited, because it relates to how I came to this talk today. So it may seem a little curious, but there is something about the fact that when we explore ancient wisdom, centuries, thousands, millennia old wisdom, it still has nuggets of truth for us in this modern present day. And some of that wisdom, as I've explored it, I find gives me hope. And who doesn't want to access some hope in these days when we have so many different challenges that we're facing, whether it's the war between Ukraine and Russia, or the discord and the polarization and all that we are experiencing in the United States. So having a source to tap into with this ancient wisdom that can help give me hope for this present day is just something that excites me. And so I wanted to share that, and also to let you talk about what excites you, because that is so important for us to start from that place, recognizing what excites us so that we can use that information and that energy to propel us along our purpose path. It's a passion of mine to help people do that. So about 2 months ago or so, I was asked to speak to the nonprofit group here in the Annapolis area that I am currently leading. It's a community of transformation. It was founded in 2001 by a good friend of mine, Linda Roebuck, and I've been participating over the years, and we do these monthly gatherings and have a presenter there. And the program director for our organization asked me to speak. And she said, Lilia, would you like to speak about angels? And I kind of felt inside, and it didn't seem quite right, because I couldn't envision how our current community would be interested at this time. So I said, that doesn't feel so right. And then she said, well, what about speaking about sacred geometry? And she knew that Linda and I had taught sacred geometry a few years ago. And I felt that spark of excitement. It was like, oh, I haven't done that in a while. And we use the information from sacred geometry in how we organize the nonprofit. And so our community could learn from that, and it has some relevance. So I noticed that I could really feel that excitement in my heart and took it from there. I said yes, I acted on it. And as I was preparing that presentation, and then Linda and I took it even further, and we developed 3 classes on it. I also was, I had these hits about this other body of ancient wisdom that had been meaningful to me over the years. So I don't know whether any of you have heard of the Emerald Tablet Wisdom, and if you haven't heard that term, that's okay. You might have heard the phrase "as above, so below," and that's part of these wisdom teachings that come from millennia. So back in ancient times, it's really not clear when it was first written or practiced or studied. It's attributed to someone called Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes might be a more familiar term. The Trismegistus means thrice greatest. So he was a great man, more of a legend, a mythical figure, more than someone where the history is not so documented, because a lot of this information came through mystery schools and secret societies and that sort of thing. But it's wisdom that even from ancient times still has relevance now. And that's the source of my excitement, because in its relevance, it also gives me hope. So, as above, so below. Just 4 words. And it's fairly simple: as above, so below, except what does it mean? And we find its meaning as we contemplate those words. And I find that some of the greatest truths in life are simple, but we have to work with them and contemplate them and take them into meditation to really understand them at depth. And I don't know that I fully understand this phrase, but I have gotten a nugget of truth from it that is meaningful to me. So what it means to me, as above, so below, is what I consider a higher consciousness or higher state of being is acceptable to me in human form, right now, right here. And it's not necessary to have any particular spiritual belief or religious belief. You can have no spiritual belief at all. But if you just notice that there's a higher state of being when you are feeling love, when you're feeling peace, when you're feeling joy, excitement, that higher state of being, when you have that perception of it, to know, even if you're not feeling it in the moment, that you are connected to it and can feel it. You can bring it in to your physical body, into your emotional body in the moment. And for me, just knowing that and having that as part of an ancient teaching gives me hope. It's something that I can rely on as part of the tools in my toolbox to shift the way I might be feeling and thinking. Now, this body of wisdom called the Emerald Tablet Teachings, they're related to this. There are 4 phrases, and they're very similar. So there's as above, so below, and the opposite of it, as below, so above, and it just gives a sense of relation to that. There's also something connected to it that's as without, so within, and as within, so without. So it's that 4th one I want to focus on too, because I want to share an experience with you. So this really was useful to me this week. This concept of as within, so without. So what I am feeling inside can have an impact on the out. What I, do from connecting to within can have the impact in the world. What is out in the world, the challenges that I was talking about, the war we're experiencing, the conflict in this country that we're experiencing, the challenges with COVID, with our economy, all these things, we can feel like we have no control or no impact on the larger picture. And yet, from this wisdom, what it is telling us that when we look within and work with what is within, we can have that impact on the outer world. And that to me is reassuring and brings me hope. So I hope that it'll bring you hope as well. So the story I wanted to share around this was I had a wonderful weekend this past weekend, starting on Friday. The board of my nonprofit took a retreat out in Bon Secours. It's here in Baltimore County in Maryland. Beautiful place for retreats. And we had a wonderful time. We each took a part of it. We had time for relaxation, but it was also connection and inspiration. And it was just a beautiful time together. We laughed a lot. We moved a lot, talking about movement earlier and the importance of that. And just a fabulous 2 days. And then Sunday was Mother's Day, and I was able to be with most of my family and 3 of my grandchildren, and that's always a lot of fun and love. And then Monday hit, and mid-morning, I found that I felt a sense of yuckiness. It's like I really wanted to go back to bed and crawl under the covers. That's what I was feeling, and it's like I had to ask myself, Lilia, what is going on? You just had 3 beautiful days. You are so blessed in your life. Why do you want to go back to bed? And what I realized in that moment, checking within what was going on, is that I had paid attention. I had watched a few YouTube videos, and I found the war was still going on, that might be escalating. Nobody knows what's going to happen there. That what was going on in the United States, so much polarity and just things that just I was feeling out of control around. And I realized I had taken that within and it was affecting my emotions. So becoming aware of that, and when we do become aware of what's going on within, then we have a choice. What can we bring to that? What do we want to shift it? Or I could have chosen just to get in the bed and pull the covers over and just go from there and just wallow in it. But I wanted to shift it. And particularly working with this wisdom, it's like, okay, I know that if I can shift what is within, that it's going to have an impact without. And also that the first concept, as above, so below. So if I can access the beautifulness of that higher state of beingness, of love and peace and joy, I can access that. I can bring it within and embody it. And so I thought, okay, how am I going to do this? Because there are different ways. And I realized I had a lot on my to-do list. So I thought, well, maybe if I just start doing something like that and get into motion, that will help. And in this case, it did. Just getting into movement, shifting my energy, it shifted what I was experiencing within. But sometimes that doesn't necessarily work so well. And I can, take a walk or whatever, and it's still working me. And so then I often reach out to a friend, a trusted friend I can talk to. And if it's still working me, I reach out to a coach or a mentor. There's lots of things that can be done, but I think what I want to encourage everyone is to pay attention, become aware of what is going within, and seeing what you can bring to that. And know that as you shift that, it not only will affect you, but it will affect those you touch. And so, why is that important? I really feel that as we tap into our gifts, that we can really bring. So as we tap into our what's possible, those gifts, that higher state of being, the love, the peace, and know that that's who we really are. And the other yuckiness or whatever else we might be feeling that's influenced from the external circumstances, that's not who we are. And we can choose to really be that light and love. And then tapping into what is our unique gift to share with the world and acting on that. And it allows us to have that impact in the world. And for me, I love that the ancient wisdom actually supports us in that, and is a um, guiding light, guiding body of wisdom for our life. So I really, I'd love to hear from others about how this lands for you. Can you see it as something to help you, support you, giving you some hope for dealing with whatever is coming up in your life? And I see Gina says hope is so vital to our existence. Thank you for the gift. Oh, thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. It really is vital for us. And there's so much that when we don't have control over things, like I have no control over what happens in the Ukraine, what Russia chooses to do. When I feel out of control, it can lead me to a sense of hopelessness. So being reminded by this wonderful wisdom. And I don't know, anybody else want to share how this lands for them? Bobby, there's always a rippling effect to all we do. A smile goes a long way. That's beautiful, Bobby. I love that. That is so true. A number of years ago, I was part of an anthology where it was Pebbles in the Pond, on that concept that when you throw your pebble in the pond as part of your gift, what you have to share with the world, it does ripple out. Transforming the world one person at a time was the subtitle. And that's all we need to do, is have that impact one person at a time. Anybody else want to reflect on that? I'm curious.
I will.
Okay, Ginny.
I love what you said, Lilia. I love all of what you said. So thank you. And when I know for me that when I'm in that yucky place, I mean, I think in when I was younger, I would just try to stuff it down, or I would drink, or I would, sleep or eat or whatever. But to know where it's coming from is really important, and to just feel the feelings. But I
Mhm.
also know for me that I can't take action from that place too well. When my energy is in that yucky place, I also can't influence anything around me except in a negative way. So I think what I'm trying to say is my energy needs to come back up, and doing it through some of the methods that you suggested for me to have an impact in a positive way.
Mhm.
I'm paralyzed when I'm in that other place. So I can't even be thinking of how I might help in some small way with any of these issues. If I'm in that place, I want to go to bed and put the covers over my head. And sometimes we just need to do that too, don't you think?
I think we should feel free to do that,
Yes.
but sometimes that's the perfect thing.
Yeah. I
And
would tell
then,
myself, I'm going to wallow in this for a while and then I'm going to go do something else. So yeah. Thank you.
Bobby,
I took some self-help when I got divorced many years ago, and a couple of things that came to mind is that we actually did a around in a circle, and we closed our bodies in, and we hooked down, and we and then they had us do, open up and open your body and open and a smile on your face, and I mean, there was just transformational just by doing some simple things. I always have to be in nature. Gina, I think you agree with that. But that's one of the things that I do, and just to remember to breathe. I know I have
simple
had,
again, right? The simple things, breathe.
yes, because I've had some different things that have impacted me tremendously, and sometimes, and I'll notice I'm not breathing. I'm holding my breath, and I'm holding. So just to do conscious breathing helps, I guess, center me or something like that. So yeah, it is the simple things. And thank you, Willa, for just pointing out this just wonderful wisdom that just reinforces.
And we remind each other of it.
We always remind each other. Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. And I did want to mention that I put my information in the chat room, and I would invite you to connect with me in a free discovery session, because I am passionate about helping people really sharing their gifts, shining their light. And as my angels have asked me to write a book about living your brilliance, that's what it's all about. So please take advantage of that. Just email me and we'll set up something. I'd love to connect with everyone.
Thank you, Lilia. Let's give Lilia a silent hand here. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. I do want to say that Faye put something in the chat, but it looks like it only came to me. She goes, I like your concept of recentering yourself.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, Faye.
I had to change it.
So I do want to wrap it up here for those of you who are watching live on Facebook or watching the replay. If you'd like to join us for one of our free 11 Zoom meetings a month or an in-person in Richmond, Virginia, comment below and I'll tell you how you can do that. You can also go to my website, www.opwgc.com. That's On Purpose Woman Global Community, opwgc.com, and find out all about the community. Thanks for watching, everyone.